See this. See this CMD. It is very much important. We'll learn that. So all the commands will be executed at the time of image creation, whereas CMD or entry point will be executed at the time of immediately after creating the container, right? So there is a this CMD and entry point are similar, but there is some difference. This is too much important, right? Too much important. One of the important concept in Docker, difference between CMD and entry point, when to use entry point, when to use CMD, how to use that and all. We'll see in next session. We'll see about entry point CMD. But let me continue with the other things. Expose. When you are creating a container, sometimes your container may not need a port number. Yes or no? For example, I want to create a CentOS container. Do CentOS need a port number to access?
No.
I'm creating a hello world image. Hello world does it require any port number?
No.
No. But I'm creating a Jenkins. Jenkins need a port number to access from outside. Yes or no? Yes. Jenkins is a web application kind of thing, which should be accessible through URL port number. So if you want to set, means while creating a Docker file, means with the Docker file, you will create image. With the image, you are create a container. So if your container needs a port number, on what port number your container should run? That expose means the internal port number 80:80, right? 80:80 we give, right? So the internal container port number, what should be the container port number? You have to tell it using this, right? You have to tell using this expose keyword. You have to tell using expose keyword. You have to mention the port number, the container port number. You have to specify. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now inside my Docker file, I want to create variables. Variables you can create using arg. Normal user-defined variables. A equal to 10. We write in shell scripting. Name equal to KC Technologies. Like that, we write some names, variables, and all we write, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So inside a Docker file, if you want to write variables, you can use arguments. But in a Docker file, I want to create an environmental variable. So that you can be created using env command, right? Whenever you create a container, for that container, the environmental variables will be set. So that you can use using env. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me go to that Jenkins image and show this. See, I have explained from run arg. See, arg. Just now we see, right? Arg is for variables. User equal to Jenkins. So here variable is user or Jenkins?
User.
User is a variable and its value is Jenkins. Who said Jenkins? I'll kill you. Okay. Group is a variable and its value is Jenkins. UID is a variable. Its value is this. GID is a variable. Its value is this. HTTP port is a variable. Its value is this. Agent port is a variable. Its value is this. Right. Environmental variable. ENV. Jenkins home is an environmental variable. Its path is this. Jenkins slave agent port is a variable. Its value is reading dynamically. Agent port. This variable $%, you know, right? So this we are reading the variable. So why we are creating a variable? They have created variables here because they want to pass these values multiple times. See here, instead of repeating the value multiple times, see here, they have used GID here. They have used GID here. So if they want in future, if they want to change the GID multiple places, they want to change. Instead of that, if they create a variable GID and use it, dynamically read the variable value here. In future, if they want to change from 1000 to 10,000, they don't need to update here and other places. They can directly modify it here. So that will be updated everywhere. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Based on your requirement, if you want to create variables, you can use arg. If you want to create environmental variables, you can use this. So run command, I already explained. If you want to execute some, see, group add means they are adding some user to group. Like this user add, they are creating one user specifically for Jenkins, something they are doing, right? Next, volume. Volume is a keyword. So what is this volume keyword is used? This same. I'm creating a container. What should be the path? What should be the container path for which a volume can be created, right? The volume, the container volume, the container path. So we can specify using a volume keyword. So volume, as for this container, they have mentioned this /Jenkins home. So for this path, you can create a volume. For this path, you can create a volume on your base OS. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, run. So they are creating mkdir. So Linux commands. If you want to execute on the base, now tell me one point. whatever the Linux commands we are giving for the run keyword, where those Linux commands will be executed, all these Linux commands will be executed on what? On the base OS, on the base image. Understood, guys? Whatever the base image we have, all the run commands, whatever the commands you have passed for run keyword, everything will be executed on the base image. Understood?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
And a copy keyword you already know. So if you give the Docker path and the destination as the container path from the Docker host, it is going to copy to the container path. Understood?
Yes.
Now I explain arg, env, run, expose. Expose also I explained, right? Next copy, I explained entry point and CMD. I'll explain in tomorrow's class. User. Okay. Next, work dir and CMD user I have to explain. Work dir is, see, work dir, I'll explain tomorrow because this is related to CMD. See, CMD, we have given yesterday in one of our Docker file, we have given CMD. Let me show you that. Yesterday, in our custom image, whatever we created, right, in last session. Okay, like this, I have CMD. I have given what I have given for CMD, Catalina.sh run, right? But from which location this Catalina.sh should run? It has to execute from USR local Tomcat bin location, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So if you want to specify, this CMD has to be executed, whatever the parameters, Catalina.sh run, whatever you have given. If you want to specify whatever the parameter or the command, whatever I pass to the CMD keyword, if that command has to be executed in a particular location, then using work dir, you have to specify the path. Using work dir, you have to specify the path. So if you specify work dir equal to slash some location, if you give, right, for work dir, you have given a path, then whatever the command you have passed for CMD, that will be executed on this location. For work dir, if you give some path, so to define from which location the command given in CMD has to run. You have work dir. In the work dir, you have given a path like this, var/lib/Jenkins, var/lib/Jenkins. Now, next you have given CMD, Catalina.sh. Now, where this Catalina.sh run will execute? On the work dir path, whatever you have given. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right? If you don't give work dir, by default, it will run on its default path. But if you want to explicitly specify some path where CMD has to be executed, then that explicit path you can define for work dir. Understood, right?
Sir.
Next, user. See, the run keyword is there, right, for you? The run keyword. Even if in the Jenkins file, there are run keywords. So using this run, all the commands, whatever you have passed for a run, will be executed on the base image. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If those command has to be executed on the base image, there should be some user, right? For example, here, if I execute ls command, ls command, using what user those ls command will be executed? EC2-user. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If I use a group add or user mod, chmod, something, right? If I use using EC2 only user permissions only, those commands will be executed. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So as we are using apt-get update. So to execute this command on the base image, there should be some user to execute the command. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
By default, all these commands, whatever you pass to the run command, run keyword, the Linux commands, whatever you pass to the run keyword, those will be executed on the base image using root user. Using root user, because there is no explicit user. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
By default, root user will be there. All the commands will be executed using root user. But I don't want to perform the actions on root user. I don't want to perform actions using a root user. Then what you can do is you can specify user and username. User and username. So as you specified here, user and username, the next commands will be executed with this particular user. If you observe here they created. For example, I'm giving here user Pawan I am giving, right? User Pawan. Now tell me, here I'm using user Pawan. So before specifying this user, these commands will be executed using Pawan user or root user?
Root user.
Root user. But as I specified user Pawan here, the next commands will be executed using Pawan user. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But where these commands will be executed? On the base OS only, right?
Yes, sir.
But if I want to use Pawan user should be created first. If I don't create a Pawan user, how can I use a user here? User Pawan, if I give, it will throw error. User does not exist. If you want to use a custom user, first you have to make sure that user is created. Understood? See here, they are using some $user, right? If you observe here, they have created a user. User name is Jenkins. They are creating one Jenkins user and they are creating user add -d Jenkins home UID, GID, something they are using. So they are creating a user and setting a ID, user ID, UID and group ID 100. They are setting for that user explicitly. So they are first using user add command. They are creating a user called Jenkins. Now they are setting user equal to Jenkins. The username is what? Jenkins. So they are creating a Jenkins user, right? So when you are using a user, custom user other than root user, if you want to use an explicit user on your Docker file, first you have to make sure that user is created. If you are not creating that user and simply give user Pawan, it will throw error. That user is not there on the base OS. So first you have to create that user. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next keyword is user and entry point. Okay. Tomorrow I'll discuss about entry point and CMD. Okay. Those two are important. I cannot complete now. So there is something I need to discuss about this, right? There are different forms to write and when to use CMD, when to use entry point. What is the difference like that? We'll see tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's it for today, guys. Okay. We'll meet in tomorrow's session.
Sir,
yes.
you told run after run whatever commands we give it that will work on base image.
Yes.
Here base image is Java, right, sir? On Java, Linux commands will work.
Okay. Now, as I said, every container, whatever you create, does that need operating system? For example, this is Jenkins container. Do this need operating system?
No, sir. It will use Shadow.
It means it will use the base OS.
Yes,
base
sir.
OS. But internally it uses base OS. But for each and every container, it looks like there is a operating system, but that is not an actual operating system. That is like a virtual the logical operating system, but not an physical existing. Just looks like whatever the operating system support you need, it will be there here, but that is not an operating system. Even if you create a Jenkins container, if you try to attach into the container and get inside the container, it looks like there is an operating system, but that is not an operating system actually. Okay. So that is the reason when you execute run commands and all, it will execute on this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
This is not a physical operating system, but this is like a logical operating system. Okay, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And one more, sir.
Yes.
Inside Docker file, we write expose and port number. For example, yesterday we wrote expose 8080 and outside while creating container -p 8080 is to 8080 something we gave.
Now, for example, this is a container port, Jenkins container port. They have given expose HTTP port as 8080. Yes or no? Here,
yes, sir.
8080, right? HTTP port. So now this is my container port. When I create a container, the container will get this port, right?
Yes, sir.
Now while exposing, I have to write like this: -p 8080. This is host port or container port?
Host port.
Now the container port should be this. If you want to change, you can change this 8081 or 82, but the container port is this one.
Okay, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
So as you give that expose 8080, the container will be exposed with 8080 port number. Means the container will be created with the 8080 port number. You can use this and you can expose it with the map it with the host port, any port, right?
Yes, sir.
Understood, guys?
Understood, sir. Sir,
okay. Yes.
You told every container will have one IP address, right, sir?
Yes.
Instead of using Docker host IP address, can we use the container IP address and access the application?
The container is a private IP address, right? Can you access outside using a private IP? Can you access from outside world?
I didn't
use a private IP.
Private
public IP. You don't know. I'll discuss about that. Private for now. Anyways, I'll discuss that in AWS. First, let me tell one thing. This EC2 instance has two IP addresses.
Yes, sir.
One is public and private. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Private IP address you can access within the network. Means from, see, where is this EC2 instance located? In AWS? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If I have two EC2 instances, to communicate from one EC2 instance to other EC2 instance, I can use private IP address because they both are in the same network. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But this EC2 instance is an AWS network. Where is my browser located? On my laptop. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
They both are in the same network? No. Yes or no?
Okay, sir.
This instance is on some other network, AWS network. This browser is on my network. So if you want to make the communication from my browser to this EC2 instance, which is on different network, I cannot use a private IP address. I have to use a public IP address. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Now, these two containers are where on the Docker. When I said, when you install Docker, you will get a network, default network. All the containers are present, whatever you create. If you don't explicitly mention, you go and sit in this network. If you don't tell that, right, then by default, they are going to place inside the default network itself. Understood?
Yes, sir.
For example, just think there is a network here. There is a network here like this. These two containers are created in the same network. The network has a range of 100 IP address. So when I create these two containers, they'll get one IP address from this 100 IP addresses. This will get one, this will get one. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Those are private IP addresses, right?
Yeah.
If I get inside the container using Docker attach, if I want to ping this, I can make the communication between these two containers using the private IP address. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Because they are on the same network. My laptop is here. My browser is here. If you want to ping that, if I use a private IP address, it doesn't work because the private IP address can be used within this network only. As my browser is on a different network, if you want to access this container should have public IP address. That is not possible. So that is the reason we are mapping it to the host with a port number and accessing. Understood, Tejeshwar?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Next, one more thing you asked. Okay. What is the question you asked? Sir, private public.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me show you.
Yeah.
Docker ps minus AI already, right? Okay. Docker inspect container ID. If you inspect that container, now see here. So it is saying the container ID is this one. It is in this state. Something it is saying, right? If you scroll down slowly, right? If you scroll down slowly, it is also shows under config, host config. It is showing volumes. This container path is this one. It has been mounted to this volume. This has been attached to this volume. Is it showing?
Yes, yes.
To check the logs of the container, you can go here, right? If something goes wrong, your container is failing. If you type Docker inspect container ID, if you give, it will show all these details. For the log path, it is showing some path, right? Now, if you go to this file, it will show the logs why your container has failed to start, something like that, right? So which network it is there? It is there in the default network. What is the ports binding? So 5000 port internally for this 80 port. This is a container port has been mapped to host port 8082, right? Next, if you scroll down, something similar, like there will be full information. You can read it. Now, if you go here, so volume mounting also it is showing here, right? Now, I said, right, when you say Docker volume create, it will create a volume in the secret location. I said, right?
Yeah, yes.
This is the secret location, var/lib/jenkins volumes. var/lib/docker volumes. Inside that, it created a path called as Docker volume1/_data. So this is the volume. This is the volume for this volume1. Understood, guys?
Yes.
So it will be like this. When you give -v, when you give like this -v volume1, if you give : that one is the right home/ something var/jenkins home or something is there, right?
Yes, sir. var/jenkins homes.
Right here we give volume. So when we create a volume, we use like this, right? But actually, where the volume is created on this location, it is equivalent to this. So this volume, in place of this volume, actually it is pointing to this place. Understood, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
We can use like this. So instead of using this, we are using a volume1. volume 1. So when you create a volume, actually that will create a volume in that location, secret location, this location, as I showed you now. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this location it has created. Docker volume create volume 1. If I give, right? So actually we use volume 1, but actually the direct path of that is this one. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next. So as I said, every container will get one IP address, right? If you see here, see it is showing IP address. So where, in which network it has been created? Default network. That is a bridge network. The default network name is bridge network. It has been the container. While creating the container, did we specify you have to create in this particular network? No, we just specified Docker run -p we specified, -v is specified, means volume, port number we specified, but we haven't specified any network. So if you don't give the network for the container where it has to be created, by default, where it will get created? In the default network. The default network is nothing but a bridge network. The name of the default network is bridge network. So in that, how many, what is the IP address it got from that network? This is the IP address. The container has got this IP address from that network. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So I want to inspect this network. Docker inspect network name. Network name. If we give, so it is going to show the no such object. Okay, something. I think it is just showing. Okay, see here, bridge. The name of the network is bridge, and how many IP addresses it can get is based on this subnet. You don't know what is this subnet and all. I'll discuss in AWS, right? So, but for now, you remember this is indicates the subnetting range. Anyways, in tomorrow's class or day after tomorrow class, when I discuss about network, I'll discuss about this also. So it indicates. So these many IP addresses can remain in this. So what is this? How many range? How to calculate how many IP addresses? I'll discuss this tomorrow in next class when I discuss about networking. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, that's it, guys. I'm stopping here. We'll meet in the next session. Okay.
Sir, I am unable to create containers. Sir.